The Tangent 8 podcast is aimed at a mature audience. It contains themes that are not appropriate for all listeners. It's important to note that we are not experts. We routinely have no idea what we're talking about and are just three idiots sitting around a table. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Tangent 8 podcast. I'm Seth. And with me is Swoosh, but unfortunately still no John Doe.
Yeah, he's having some issues finding internets and a place to live. Always fun.
Yeah, things that he kind of figured they'd sort out quickly and before he moved have just unfortunately not happened. So
Tends to happen. Unfortunately, Australia's rental market is kind of fucked.
Kinda, try massively.
Yeah.
And unfortunately landlords know it and they are absolutely screwing people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're charging way too much money for fucking holes.
Some of the horror stories that I have had from when I was looking for places a few years back. Like, Jesus Christ.
I did nothing on... fuck it, I'll tell it here because it's a good story. I went to a place. It was $3.50 a week. I'm like, okay, sure, let's go. Let's check it out. I get there, and it's a section of a bigger house.
One of the subdivided Queenslanders? Yeah.
Kinda. Much bigger, though.
Okay, fair.
And I'm like, okay, well, this is already kind of red flagging for me because, like, I don't have anywhere to put a washing machine or anything like that. But, like, fuck it, I'm here. Let's check out the room. Not room, the apartment.
Yeah.
And, you know, they let us in, and I walk in, and it's got absolutely the most bulk standard. If you've ever rented a property in Queensland, you know the oven.
Yeah.
It is the same one in every rental.
It is. I swear to God, it is just literally the same oven. Just when you're not looking, it goes to a different apartment. Just disappears and reappears there.
Somehow we're all using the same oven.
Yeah.
So, you know, kitchen, so-so. Bathroom, same deal. Pretty basic. If you've ever rented a place, you know what these look like.
Yeah.
And then there's two bedrooms.
Picture them in your head.
Yeah. And it's two bedrooms. And I look at them and go, okay, so one of these is actually facing out onto a highway. So I'm like, okay, that'll have to be my study if I took this one. Because I'm not sleeping with windows facing a highway. I'm going to use the room that isn't that if I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I go into the last room. Now, the room you need to understand, you have the door, and then you've got the wall on the right, and then it goes to the left.
Yeah.
That's the depth of the room. If you went from that furthest left wall, about 2/3 back toward the door, stripper pole. And I was told it's not being removed.
What? Okay, it's just... That kind of limits who you can rent to at that point.
Yeah.
It's either sad housewives or more strippers, and more often than not, they tend to be the same person. But
I'm pretty sure even strippers would make enough money to not live in this dump.
Yeah, that's like you'd have to be going for baby strippers. Like the ones who are just starting. It's like, holy shit.
I don't know. It was perplexing. And like I said, when I asked, like, is this getting removed? Because it's dead center 2/3 of the way through the room. This really wrecks this room.
Yeah.
No, it's not coming out. Why?
It's a load-bearing stripper pole.
I must be. But, like, that's the sort of shit. And they wanted $350 for that.
Yeah,
in this dinky little tiny apartment inside of a bigger house, which you have to share the facilities with.
Yeah.
They wanted $350. It's like, no, get out. Just no, fuck off.
I had a couple which were Queenslander houses, and for anyone who doesn't know what a Queenslander house is, think a giant balcony surrounding a little house. Like those kinds of Queenslanders. On stilts. And what they had done was they had just enclosed the balcony surrounding the house. And they were then trying to sell sections of that, or not sell, but rent out sections of that balcony as rooms. It's like, no, I can feel the draft, and there's barely any wind already. I'm good, thank you.
And then you go, halfway down my wall, there's a double door into someone's room.
Yeah.
Can I lock that? No, but they can.
It's like, neat, so I just have to trust them, do I? That's cool. Every inspection I've ever gone on, the place has never been clean. Like,
no.
Every time. I'm talking, like, not just, like, little bits of dust here and there, maybe a cobweb. No, I'm talking layers and layers of dust. Like,
Well, because no one's renting these fucking places. Because they're like, no, I'm not paying that much money to live in this crap hole.
Yeah. But, oh, God, we have some shoddy-ass places. There's a chick on TikTok who I follow, whose entire thing is just the really shit rental crisis in Australia, just checking out these things that are online to be viewed. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? It's like, the bitchins is my favorite. The bathroom-kitchen combinations. Oh, God.
Look, I don't mind kitchen, dining, sort of lounge areas being a combo, but no, don't fucking mix my lounge and my bathroom. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where you need to be able to escape the bathroom, because sometimes you gotta demolish that thing, and, you know, you don't want that permeating the rest of the apartment.
I know. I mean, I like bacon, but I'm sorry, I can wait to get out of the shower to make it.
That is true. Like, if you are so obsessed with having bacon or coffee that you must have that shit next to you, maybe see a doctor.
Yeah. Although I have heard many people talk about the virtues of the shower beer.
I understand the shower beer to a point. Because it's that weird thing of hot and cold mixed together. It's why saunas go really well with, like, diving into a pool after and that kind of stuff. So you're in, like, a hot shower and you have a cold beer. And it feels weird and fun. But at the same time, I can wait to have a thing, but I also don't really drink beer anymore. Because, you know, having a thing in a bottle kind of helps to keep the water out.
I don't know, I guess you'd have a shower soju.
Oh, that would be dangerous, not gonna lie. Jesus Christ. Considering soju are what, like 4 standard drinks in a single tiny bottle?
Depends which ones you bought.
Yeah, that's true. The fancy, like, flavored ones are 4. I think the unflavored one is just methylated spirits. But it's delicious, I'll give it that.
Yeah, not gonna argue with you on that.
Ugh.
I don't know. Drinking a beer in the shower just feels like admitting you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those things, like, my work, like a lot of offices in Australia at the moment, are doing like 4 o'clock on a Friday. You can start drinking as long as you don't get too blasted before you finish your job. And even then, I'm a bit iffy on doing that. Like,
yeah, no.
My brain's like, no, I don't trust that. That seems like a test that management's put in. Like, watch the ones who are drinking. They're the troublemakers. Like, you never can tell some days. But, like, the shower beer is a weird anomaly, and I don't think that came from Australia. I think that one migrated from Germany or somewhere over there.
I don't know. It feels very American to me.
Yeah, that would not surprise me.
Like, I can
That'd be shower whiskey. Shower whiskey sounds American.
Nah. Like frat bros.
Yeah.
You're in the shower, and then just a beer pops through the curtain because you didn't take your shower beer with you.
Actually, weirdly enough, apparently frat bros have moved away from beer, and now they're just all drinking those hard seltzers.
Oh, because they're easier to drink.
Easier to drink, and they're lower calories, so you don't get as many big, chunky frat bros anymore. Oh, the fun days.
I'm really glad we don't have that culture here.
I'm so glad that frat houses and sororities are not a thing. They are so very toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just the shit that comes out of the US from them. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. So,
like,
you know, I'm happy it doesn't happen. Now it's just like you find the one guy who's got the good house, and everyone gets looking at his place.
Exactly. Or you just have unofficial share house. I remember when we were still going through uni, they brought in that change to rentals where you couldn't have more than 4 people who were not related living in the same house in Brisbane. And the amount of share houses that had to be broken up that week was amazing.
I wasn't renting back then, so I wasn't particularly privy to that.
Yeah, no, I was at the time. It was entertaining. We were in a share house with about 12 people, I think. That was that one where they, like, split the garage into 3.
I remember that. That fucking place.
That place was that was insane. Like, literally every room was a bedroom at that point, even, like, an enclosed balcony.
I mean, the upstairs wasn't too bad. It was when you went downstairs and you went down that corridor that felt like any horror movie, it'd be like, this is the one you die in. That's what this corridor is.
I would walk down that corridor and it's like, I'm going to get mugged, and this is inside my house, and each of these rooms is filled with people I know and care about. Like, I still feel like I'm going to get mugged.
I only went down there once. I mean, I didn't go to that particular... I didn't visit you at that share house very often.
Yeah.
But I only ever went down that corridor once, and it was like, nah, this feels too sketch.
Yeah. Also,
and as you say, we knew the people in the rooms. It wasn't randos.
And no one ever used the front door there. For some reason, it was taboo to use the front door. And I can't remember why.
One of the places I lived at, we didn't use the front door so long because the back door was easy to use. Like, the front door had a bad lock.
Yeah.
So you had to get it just right to use it. But the back door worked fine. So me and one of the housemates who didn't drive would just go round the back. And the one guy who did drive, well, he drove in under the house to park his car, so it was easier to go in the back.
Makes sense.
We didn't use the front door long enough. The creeper vine took over the door.
Nice.
So we had a beautiful flowering vine that covered the front entrance to the house because we used it that little.
Yeah. That is fair. That's brilliant. Like, I think the front end of this episode is going to be us bitching about the places we've lived in, because that's the kind of headspace we're in at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we started it, and like now I'm like, oh man, I remember living in a place where we had, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in a 3-bedroom house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we had one couple, me, another single guy, someone was living on our enclosed patio.
Yep.
And a dude who got kicked out of the place he was living in, was living on our couch for like 3 weeks, then decided he'd pay rent because he'd been living with us for so long. But if he was going to do that, he'd have his own space.
Yeah.
So he went under the house, stacked up some pallets and put a mattress on it, and then hung doonas to create a little space for himself. This is underneath a Queenslander. These do not have walls. Or not proper walls, usually slatting.
Like lattice work at best.
He did this himself. We did not make him go down there. We did not be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
He did it himself because he was like, if I'm gonna pay rent, I want my own space.
Yeah.
Sure, bro. Whatever. Pay a sixth of the rent to live under a house. Your call, my guy.
At that point, he just becomes the possum whisperer, because you're gonna have possum roommates down there. They're everywhere.
Oh no, the best one with look, I'll tell the story because it's absolutely one of my favorite stories about this dude. The thing you need to understand is he was Scottish, so he wasn't from Australia. He's down in his area one time and he hears some rustling, and he's come out of his little space and he sees something in the leaves. Now, me and the other guy who was living there at the time were upstairs. It was just the other couple weren't in the house today.
Yeah.
We're upstairs just shooting the shit. And he comes upstairs and goes, I think there's a snake downstairs. We're like, okay, we live in Australia. There's a lot of fine snakes, but there's a lot of dangerous snakes. So you got to kind of be careful and know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
We go down there and like we can see the leaf pile moving. And we're like, look, we can't actually see it, but we don't want to, go poking around in leaf litter that we don't know what's in it.
You don't want to kick a pile of leaves that might have a king brown like sitting in it. Like, that's never a fun
thing. So we're being a bit cautious about it. It's like, you can give us a basic description, and we're like, okay, fine. We got to try and figure out how to get a snake removed from a house.
Yeah.
And we go upstairs, and we're kind of Googling around, trying to find someone to come get this damn snake. The thing you've got to also remember is we're all unemployed right now, so we can't afford, like, $200 for someone to come out and get a snake out of the house. And we actually call this discount guy, and we're like, okay, this is the description we've got. And he's like, yeah, it's going to cost you like $150. We're like, dude, we don't have $150. We just need this fucking dealt with. And he's like, okay, from your description, it's one of 2 snakes. And I honestly don't remember the description he gave us at this point because it was many years ago.
Yeah.
But he's like, okay, if it's one snake, they're in like every house. You're fine. Don't worry about it. It'll leave on its own.
Yeah.
If it's this other snake, it's poisonous and it will chase you. You need to find the $150.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, fuck. We might have a seriously dangerous snake in the house. And then we continue to Google around and we're starting to try and get into like government systems and stuff. Like, there's got to be someone who can come get this goddamn snake out of here. Otherwise, we might just have to get a shovel and murder an animal.
Yeah.
That we don't want to. We'd rather have it taken away and released.
Exactly.
And the Scottish dude's like, oh, hey, I'll call Australia Zoo. They're all about animal preservation, and they might be able to direct us to what's going on.
Yeah.
So he's gone out on the back stairs, and we continue to Google around. And then I suddenly hear him go, there it is! And I'm like, oh, awesome. It's come out of the leaf litter. We can finally get an eyeball on this thing, and we'll be able to tell what we're dealing with. He's on the phone with Australia Zoo at this point, though. So he's standing on the stairs, on the phone, and I come out, and I look down, and I just look at it and go, it's a fucking blue tongue. Best bit, he's on the phone, and he's seriously on the phone to Australia Zoo, goes, my housemate says it's a blue tongue.
Oh, God, that poor boy.
Oh, okay. And then hangs up the phone. It had legs! It's clearly not a freaking snake! For anyone who doesn't know, a blue tongue is a type of four-legged lizard. Yeah. And they're very non-dangerous.
They're extremely docile little things. They'll run away.
If they bite you, they will clamp down, and it is a problem. But if you don't mess with them, they're fine. They will not hurt you.
They're not like, if it was a goanna, I'd be terrified. But if it's a fucking blue tongue, leave him be. He's great. He's going to catch all the bugs.
It was so funny.
Oh, mate.
I laughed so hard when he said, my housemate says it's a blue tongue.
Jesus, that's brilliant. It is fun finding, like, people from other countries coming and say, it's dangerous. Like, nah, that one's fine. The one next to it, however, will fuck you up. If it's adorable looking, it'll end your life quite happily.
Oh, yeah.
But what other weird places? Do you remember the crack house I used to live in?
Which one?
Yeah, good point. Like, this one I moved to, the place I was living in got sold, so I had to, like, find a place within a month. Ended up moving with some old mates from uni, and they're in Toowong, and big brick building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
It was a nice enough house, to be honest. Like, the only issue we had was the roof was leaking and full of mold, and the place was a bit uneven. They had also illegally filled in a pool, which was great fun, because a mate of the family came to drop some stuff off, and they were a real estate agent. Like, that's highly illegal. Like, yeah, please don't tell anyone. I do need to live here for a period. A wall had been knocked over in a storm. So we told the landlord about it. It's like, oh yeah, we'll send someone to come and take it away. This person turned up, and instead of taking the pile of bricks that was quite obviously a demolished wall, they demolished another wall and took it away. So we had 2 demolished walls, one of which was still there. So that was fun. But we realized this place was a crack house at one point in its history. None of us were, on that shit. Because I went in there, and 2 of the girls were living downstairs in what was essentially a granny flat that they'd separated off. And I went down the end, we use this room for storage. Like, oh, that's cool. There's a few windows here. Why are they all spray painted black? Oh.
Yep.
This was the crack room. And, the poor, innocent wee darlings have just gone, what do you mean? How do you know? It's like, there's only 2 reasons you black out windows that way. None of them are good, and none of them are legal. But, it was a fun place. It was a good, the people there I liked. It was fine. Apart from an evil cat.
I know one of the I know it's gonna sound like the dumbest thing to remember so clearly. But it was when we were early in our friendship. Yeah. When you were still living in student accommodation.
Yeah.
And we were going to Supernova.
Oh.
And we were going to do both days.
Yeah.
And me and another friend didn't have anywhere to stay that was local. So you offered, hey man, you can just sleep on my floor.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's fine. It's one night. I can deal with one night on carpet. It's not a big deal. And we have our fun day at Supernova. It's really good. We come back. We're all really tired. And we start to crash out. And the friend we had with us snored like a bear.
Oh, it rattled windows. It was...
And we're in this tiny, bedroom, kitchen apartment thing. So there's no way to get out.
Yeah.
I busted out my laptop and just started playing Star Wars Pod Racer. And then Shush got out of his bed and sat next to me on the floor, and we just traded the laptop between us and played Pod Racer all
We just
night.
played Pod Racer for the entire evening. I think that's where our friendship properly started, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Bonding over the fact that we were sleep deprived of playing Pod Racer. But,
It's really dark. Like, it's one of my clearest memories of us as friends is sitting in your apartment at the glow of my laptop playing Pod Racer.
the good old days when we could go days without sleep and not feel it. But,
I have trouble going hours without sleep now.
yeah, same. It's like, because that was, that student accommodation was right around from that 24-hour pancake place we used to go and get drunk.
Yeah.
Great little pancake place. It's called like the Pancake Manor. Had a bar underneath it, so every Thursday night after a late lecture, we used to go and get drunk. And eventually, we started gathering a group of all these people who hated this class and going there. So it was great. It was in stumbling distance to my place, and we could get horribly messed up and then have pancakes at 3 a.m. because it was 24 hour.
I mean, quite honestly, if you're ever in Queensland, in Brisbane, and it's 2 a.m, go to the Pancake Manor.
Yeah,
For
it's
love
an old
of Christ.
church. Basically, they bought an old church and turned it into a pancake place, and it's at 3 a.m. It is its own little like ecosystem, because you turn up and there's like people from late shift who are just like, I just want food, leave me alone. They're like at a table on their by themselves. There's a bunch of very drunk people every day of the week, but Saturday and Fridays are the best. And they're just messy. There's covered in syrup and butter and God knows what else. And then there's the stoners, and you can tell these guys because they have 3 different kinds of pancakes in front of them, and they're eating all of them at once, and they are so happy.
That, or they have 3 different kinds of pancakes, but they're asleep on a short stack.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, do not be tricked by the not ice cream, because like this place, they specialize in pancakes.
It's butter.
So they just have those big industrial buckets of butter, and to put it on pancakes, they get like an ice cream scoop, like plonk, and every person who goes there the first time is, oh shit, yeah, I didn't even order ice cream, and they take a bite, you just watch them, it's like, that was butter. Well, in for a penny, and just go again.
But like, quite honestly, like, I've had Pancake Manor at appropriate times.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, it's not that great. It's just pancakes. But on the other hand, you stagger in there at 3 a.m. It's magic.
It's like kebabs.
Absolute magic.
Kebabs, when you're sober, they're okay. They're still a kebab. They're not bad. But when you're drunk on the way home at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and you just sit there eating this like greasy, garlicky mess, you are the happiest person ever, and you're eating gourmet food.
But you've got to get it from the right kebab shop.
Oh, absolutely. Do not, if you find a kebab shop that is clean and pristine, do not eat there.
You've got to go into the one that looks like no one updated the decor since like the 80s.
The 70s, if you can find it.
Yeah. The dude behind it barely speaks English. He only refers to you as boss.
Yeah.
And, like, he will have the strongest accent.
Oh, yeah.
That guy will make your dream kebab. And you will absolutely smear it all over your face as you consume that motherfucker, because it will be heaven.
Oh, it's so good. I maintain that guy is some kind of weird deity that only appears to the drunkest of people at 3 a.m. to sell kebabs.
Yeah.
That's it. That's his entire purpose. He appears. What do you want, boss? And it's just like, you're good. You're happy as Larry.
And I mean, I got to give that guy credit, because I have been in those kebab shops, and some of the shit that people slur out, and yet he still fucking makes it.
Oh, yeah.
Like some person will walk up, incoherently make noise at him. It's like, got it. And he gets them exactly what they want.
Perfectly. I swear he's telepathic. He has to be. Like, every time.
I mean, there's got to be some crossover between the way drunks speak and that sort of, that Indian language that, like, somewhere in the middle, he knows how to translate between the two.
Yeah. Or that's just an educated guess and they're too drunk to notice what he puts into it. But who knows? I like to assume he's just magic.
I don't know. The amount of times I've heard people be like, he even got the garlic sauce.
Yeah.
And, like, they got the sauce they wanted.
Mm.
It's not like, oh, yeah, he just went, fine, you can have a doner kebab, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
He makes what they want. I don't know how they do it.
It's some kind of strange magic that we weird white people are not privy to.
No, we're not.
I wish we were. But back to the original topic, rentals in Australia at the moment. Because, like, it's bad in Brisbane, yes. But in places like Melbourne, it's fucked. Because Melbourne, for anyone who doesn't live in the country, is nestled between the ocean and a bunch of wildlife preserve. That, despite the amount of people trying to get rid of that preserve, they're not getting rid of it. It's staying as it is. It's going to be a wildlife preserve for until we're long gone.
Which is good.
Which I love. But the only way they can expand is up. Like, it has to build upwards. And as they build up, the pricing on apartments goes up because it's, oh, this is fancy and new. We're going to charge a shit ton for it. It's like, no.
You're up really high. You get all these beautiful views.
And then another one pops up next month and blocks all the views you paid for. Like, it's a...
I mean, my problem with, like, I used to live in Victoria, and I used to live way out in the sticks. Well, probably not the, like, sticks, but...
Yeah.
Enough that, like, you live in a small town, and there's very little, and you travel between other small towns to get everything you need.
Yeah, I know the place. I lived in, like, mining towns as a kid. Same kind of deal.
But, like, not quite, like...
Yeah.
So, me and friends would... Actually, that reminds me of a good story, but I'll get to it in a minute. I used to go into actual Melbourne City.
Hmm.
And my biggest issue with Melbourne is its layout. It's a grid.
Yeah.
Now... if you know how to navigate that grid, it does work very well. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. If you don't, it's a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just crisscrosses itself everywhere. But the biggest issue is everything's down an alley. The wind doesn't function properly in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It can only go along the grid. So one way will be no breeze. And then you'll cross over an alleyway, and then you'll be blasted with wind that's just got the stench of garbage in it, because all the fucking dumpsters are down the alley!
Yeah. Every time.
Hell, my favorite Chinese place in Melbourne used to have to wander down this dingy alley, go under a hotel, and then you got to the fucking Chinese place.
Nice.
Basic food. We loved it, but we hated going there because it sucked getting in.
Why are they always the best places, though? It's fucking annoying. It's like, the best place, but we have to go through Murder Alley to get to it. Like, is there a way to get there that's not through Murder Alley? You're like, no, you have to brave Murder Alley. That's how it makes it taste so good.
But the story I was going to tell. Me and my friends used to, a couple of us would all get together. Oh, we got to go into the city. Okay. There were, like, hobby stores and game stores. Actually in the city.
That's where all the nerd shit was.
I know. I mean, we lived far enough out that we actually had rattler carriages on the trains.
Oh, nice.
We didn't have nice, sleek fucking full-on rattlers, man.
Oof.
So we'd all get together and we'd all go. The cities, sort of, kind of as a group thing, keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
And one of the times, a friend of ours who was Muslim wanted to come. And this was a little bit after 9/11, so there is some tension with Muslim folks.
Yeah,
but we're kids; we didn't care. He was just our friend, so we invited him to come along. And we're in the city, and he's trying to he's bought some stuff, and he's putting it in his bag, and he pulls out this chunk of 2x4. Like, why do you have 2x4 in your bag? That's weird. And he just looks at it and goes, yeah, when I told my dad I was going into the city, he handed it to me for protection.
Honestly, at that time, probably needed. Fuck.
Once I heard that, it was like, oh, wait, hang on. That tracks. That's weird. But I was a kid, and it was like, he's just a kid. He's not a danger to anybody. Why would he need a 2x4?
Because, unfortunately, people are shit.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't too long after 9/11 that Cronulla riots happened, I think.
I can't remember when that went down.
That was fucked. But yeah, you're saying?
But yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
it was just this weird sort of confluence between, like, the real world and the little world that children exist in.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a real wake-up moment for me. Was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is bad.
Look,
Shouldn't have to do that.
I come from places like Thierry and like Mackay and that kind of thing, far up north in Queensland. Not Cairns far, but still pretty far. It's one of those places you go to, and I moved to Brisbane, and honestly, I had never seen anything but, mostly white people my entire life, because that's all that was there. I'm like, there are so many other people. This is amazing. But I know that, we're never going to say that Australians aren't racist. There are some fucked up people here. We mentioned the Cronulla riots before, because that was messy. That was just a bunch of yahoos on Australia Day trying to be fucking top shit. And I hope they're all, like, buried somewhere. But, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I never had it, like, thrown in my face the way that you did, because that would have thrown me for a loop as well.
I mean, I remember it so vividly, because, like I said, it was the real world suddenly crashing into the... Like, again, I mean, I was like, what? I'm talking, like, 15?
Yeah, no, because, like, 9/11... I was still in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was I was 3 years out of finishing high school, so I finished in 2006. But a lot of us kind of had that falseness in our generation where it's like, we're just kids. This is fine. Oh, shit. Terrorism. And that was our entire lives for about 3 years.
Well, I mean, the thing was, though, like we're Australians. And I don't want to downplay 9/11. Like, that was a massive tragedy.
Yeah.
But we were somewhat insulated from it because we're not Americans.
Yeah.
It wasn't as cultural a wound as it is for Americans.
Yeah.
We see it as a horrible thing, and terrible people performed an atrocity that day.
Absolutely.
But we were somewhat insulated from it. That was the first time I personally was like, oh, this is a big deal.
Yeah. Like,
when one of my friends' parents was so scared that he was going into the city that they thought he needed to take a weapon.
Yeah.
And I'd been into the city numerous times with my friends, not an issue.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was crazy to me as a kid. And I won't forget it.
Oh, definitely. Like, that's something you really can't get out of your head. Because it's good to know and not forget it, though. Like, I know enough people of different denominations and different heritages and that kind of stuff, but it's always good to remember, like, fuck, shit's kind of fucked for you guys right now. You good? How's things? But,
yeah.
But we were talking about rental things, and we got sidetracked again. We do that a lot here.
God, it's like it's the theme of the show.
Right? Who'd have thought we'd just keep going on tangents? It's almost like it's genetic. But what else have we... Those are the worst places I've lived in, I think.
I haven't lived in that many... What have I lived? I've lived in... my first place I moved out of was really nice. The people weren't too bad, but like it was the first time I'd ever moved out of home. It had all its own trials and tribulations.
Oh yeah.
Then I lived in effectively a storage room.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And then I started living with you for a while in the apartment and then the house.
Yeah.
And then some stuff happened and we stopped living together.
Yeah.
And I've lived with the same housemate since then.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
we have moved multiple times, but he moved in with me and Swoosh, and when I left, he came with me. And yeah, I've had the same housemate since then. I think we've lived in this. I think I've lived in the same share house as him for something like 10 years now.
It must be at least close to that, if not more.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great housemate. Pays his bills on time, keeps to himself. We get to we hang out and enjoy TV shows together. It's
And you've not killed each other yet. That's always
No.
a bonus. Like, that is ideal for a housemate.
Yeah.
Are they going to murder me in my sleep?
Oh, sorry. I completely forgot the party house I lived in.
Oh, yeah, the party house is fun.
The party house was good. That we used to have monthly parties there. We had a week-long LAN once.
That was fun.
No, was it a 3-day LAN? I can't.
It was
Some
a
of that's blurry.
It was a 3-day LAN and a week-long birthday between you
Yes,
and
it was the week-long birthday because my birthday was at the end of the week and the other guy's birthday was at the start of the week.
Yeah.
So we just started drinking and didn't stop.
And apparently I was there for a period. I still don't remember.
The only proof is the photos that corroborate that you turned up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, they showed photos like, no, you were there. Like, was I? I don't know what I was drinking or how much, but I don't remember anything from that week.
Yeah, that was the week. That was the week where we actually had some people have a sword fight in the street.
Oh yeah, proper sword fight.
That was fun.
Too. Yeah, that was good.
The last party we had though was my favorite because we were like some of the people had moved out of the house and we were just sort of cleaning up and getting ready to do like get a skip and just throw everything that was left over in. But we decided we'd have one last big party because, you know, this is the end of the party house. And one of the guys had left his bed. And that night, because we used to buy so much pizza. Like,
yeah.
I have no idea how I have a functioning colon. We ate that much cheese. But we'd end up with these huge stacks of pizza boxes and they'd fill up the recycle bin. So we stopped recycling them. We'd put them in this big 44-gallon drum we found. And we just burned them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, not the best thing we should have ever done with
It was cardboard. It's
recyclables, but, I mean, you technically can't put a pizza box in a recycling bin.
Yeah, because
It's got food grease on it.
Yeah.
But we'd burn them in this drum. So, on this last party, we dragged all the couches that were underneath the house out onto the front area and put the big drum up. And we'd, thrown some wood in and stuff, and we had a little bit of a fire going. And then someone's like, oh, we need some more wood. And then they looked over at the other housemate's abandoned wooden bed. And across the rest of that evening, we proceeded to burn his bed.
Oh, brilliant.
At one point, they had fully on fire the crossbeams of the bed.
Yeah.
Fully on fire in the street, having fights with them. And you just see, like, big explosions of sparks as these things hit each other.
Let it never be said that we're intelligent people.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
We have done some dumb and dangerous shit. Let's be honest, it's a very good thing we grew up in a time before camera phones. Like,
oh, yeah.
The amount of dumb shit I did as a kid. I'm very glad it's not the internet.
Yeah.
So, bonus.
And I mean, all that exists from that house is various photos.
Yeah.
We're very good about, like, we should probably not take photos and video of us sword fighting with 2x4s on fire.
Meanwhile, you could have been famous on TikTok for that shit now.
Yeah, but I'm kind of happy to not be famous on TikTok.
Yeah, no, same. Oh god, that place is a cesspit currently.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, there's good shit on there, but there's an awful lot that isn't.
Generally, it filters out, but
yeah,
the good stuff rises to the top. But there is some strange people on that app. Have you seen the NPC trend?
NPC trend?
It's the people pretending to be NPCs on like lives and stuff.
Okay. So there's a couple of people I know who do like the GTA character stuff.
Yeah, or like the avatar stuff kind of thing, where they're acting like an avatar would.
No, I haven't seen those. I've only seen the GTA guy because he's the dude who really nailed the run.
Yeah, that guy is pretty good. He's like the top tier version of this kind of stuff. But there's people on live who are just facing the camera, making strange sounds and like trying to pretend like they're doing looping animations, but nothing flows like a character would.
Yeah,
it's just inane drivel being thrown at you. It's like, what is that? Why are people subscribing to this? Why are people paying this person money? I don't know.
To me, that's just influences.
Yeah.
Why do you have so many followers? You're not creating anything.
Welcome to the grumpy old man section of the show where we start talking about influencers, because holy shit. Like, I love watching influencers get their comeuppance. I love it so much.
When restaurants and stuff are like, no, fudge off, you pay your bill.
Yeah, I don't understand that. When someone goes out to like a place, oh, I'm an influencer, I'll give you a shout out. Like, even if you had 1 million people following you, how many of those people are in the city? How many of them are in the place local enough to come to this place? Like, there's no point in this. I follow one guy on Instagram who is a Brisbane local who finds weird restaurants. And he's great. I like him. Because he also shows the food and pays for it himself. He's not trying to force them to, give them free meals.
Yeah. It's that entitled... Like, I mean, look, I know I'm saying influencers like everybody's a decent.
Oh, there are some decent people out there who actually do stuff.
But they're not. Not every single one of them is.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them that they're just coming across as an entitled prick.
Oh, definitely.
I deserve a free room. Why? What makes you special? You have 1 million followers on TikTok? Woo.
Neat. You have 1 million bots following you at this point. Because there's no way of telling. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, because early on, the big clout was like, oh, I have so many followers. Look at me. And then you realize you can buy a follower for pennies on the dollar. Yeah. You can have 100 followers for like $10.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that alone. It's like, oh, we're gonna be really popular. Like, just grow naturally or don't grow. This isn't pay to win. Please stop. But,
I mean, that's how you end up with that sort of vapid content that doesn't work. Or okay, you can get some stuff, you might get a sponsorship, awesome. But you don't come across good.
The weird thing is, there are some people doing some horrible shit for clout on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, recently in the US, there was a family blogger who's just been sentenced to a few years in prison because they were just neglecting their kids. And they were a family channel. Like... Yeah,
a few of those family channels have had that happen. It's turned out like they're... Like, not enough to be like, you're abusing your kid, but like, so close.
It's getting close kind of thing, yeah. But this one was actually abusing your kids, like neglecting them. They weren't getting food. The only time they were basically fed or did anything was when they were doing content. And you just feel so bad for these kids.
I mean, like, have you seen any of the stuff that's recently been happening with, I'm gonna butcher this because I don't speak Japanese, Nichi Sanji?
The name I think I've seen somewhere, but I haven't been up on that.
So, they're a company that handles VTubers.
Yeah.
And the parent company, Niji Sanji, is Japanese, but they have an English branch called Niji Sanji EN. They had one of their content creators tried to kill themselves.
Oh.
While they were in hospital, they impersonated them on Twitter.
Oh, no.
And made it seem much less like a big deal.
Holy shit.
Gets worse.
How does this get worse?
They, without telling this VTuber, then terminated their contract. They found out on Twitter.
Oh, fuck.
It gets worse. As part of the legal proceedings that were already starting to happen between this VTuber and Niji Sanji, she had delivered over some documents that she'd been writing during her depression.
Yeah.
She'd handed them to her lawyers to show to Niji Sanji because she wanted to get out of the company. She'd found the place to be rather toxic and kind of bullying. She wanted to depart, and she wanted to break a contract, and she was essentially showing, this is where I'm at, I need to get out. They then showed those documents to 3 other of their VTubers, and then had those 3 VTubers go on stream and attempt to smear campaign the other VTuber in an attempt to discredit her.
Get fucked, really?
Yep.
What the fuck? Are they just not human?
Apparently.
What? In what world would anyone think that's a good idea? Especially when you're heading a large business or corporation.
You know what's the best bit? not the first time they've done it.
Wow, that's probably why. They've gotten away with it once before, and now they are emboldened by it. Fucking hell, I hate that shit.
Yeah,
that's
at least one other time that we're aware of, they had a problematic talent, and then proceeded to terminate and smear campaign them and had it work.
Look, I understand terminating someone from a company if you think they're toxic or they don't fit the brand. I get that, but follow your contracts and make sure you pay them what they're owed. But
sorry, this whole thing kicked off because the VTuber spent $15,000 of her own money to record and produce a music video that she uploaded to her YouTube channel that Niji Sanji controls without Niji Sanji's approval, and they privated it because they hadn't approved its upload. It is part of their contract.
I get that. That's understandable. But to go that far is a bit fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's... I get cancelling a contract or giving a warning, like, dude, we told you not to do this. We had to approve things. You can't do that. We've privated it for now. We'll go through the approval process. We'll release it when we can. That makes sense. But cancelling them immediately and starting a smear campaign? No. Even if you let
while they're recovering from their
their attempted
their second in a month.
Oh, no. No matter which way you look at it, this company is screwed. They can't do that shit. Like, that's...
Everyone's pretty sure Niji Sanji's going to be fine.
More than likely, unfortunately, which is the state of things.
The 3 VTubers who were used for the smear campaign have massive audiences. One of them is something like the 3rd highest rated English VTuber on Niji Sanji's roster.
Ooh.
So, they're like, these guys are bulletproof. It doesn't matter. And Niji Sanji has a whole stable of VTubers. Yeah, they took a 10% hit to their stock price, something like $400,000 worth of money just out the window.
Yeah.
But they don't care. They'll just ride it out and wait.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. Have you been keeping up with the Coles and Woolies shit happening?
There's been an update?
There has. So, I think it was the guy who, like, the CEO of Woolies walked out of an interview. So basically they gave him some tough questions and he threw a hissy fit and left. Like, literally a hissy fit. It's out there on the internet. He can't get rid of it. He's trying. But essentially they just came down to, why are you price gouging people? Like, no, we're not. Like, yes, you are. And the guy who retired like 2 months ago from one of the lead positions in our government said you are. Like, oh, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's been shit for years. It's like, you've immediately just gone to slandering someone? Okay, cool. And he's realized what he said after he said it and tries to bail on the interview. To the point where his PR team had to pull him away. He's like, you can't leave. If you leave, it looks worse. You can't do this. You have to finish the interview now. But yeah, that guy has now stepped down. So he's put in his resignation, which doesn't end for another 6 months. He's still leading the place for 6 more months. And they're just doing it to try and take people's minds away from the fact that they are still price gouging. The prices are still going up. They made more profit than they did last year, again.
What was it, $1.75 billion or some shit?
Yeah, and they just saw a profit of like 2.6% on top of that again. Which, to most people, it's like, oh, that's not a lot. But when you're dealing with billions, that's a lot of money. Like, that's not an insubstantial amount. And they have been squeezing us for years. Like, do you remember the ads for Coles years ago? It's like, oh, you can feed a family of 4 on $10. Bagged cheese now costs $10. Like, you can't anymore. It's fucked. But they're trying that whole thing of like a smoke screen of, oh, we got rid of the bad guy. Yeah, no, it's all smooth sailing from here. It's like, don't even pretend that the entire head office of Coles and Woolies isn't full of these cats. Like, come on.
I hate, like, I'm even about to say this. I really hate that we aren't more like the Americans, because they have so many different chains to get groceries from, that you have options.
Yeah.
Yes, in some places in the States you don't have options, But they've got all of their normal places. They've got Costco, they've got Walmart, they've got places like Dollar Tree, they've got Whole Foods, they've got so many different places.
Yeah.
What's Australia got? Coles, Woolies, and if you're lucky, an Alden.
Pretty much. Like, in some
and
cases...
every now and then, you can find an IGA.
Yeah. Honestly, once you get out of a major city in Australia, you are beholden to Coles and Woolies. There is nothing else. So if they... And they will gouge indiscriminately in rural areas. Having lived in rural areas before, and places like Mackay and mining towns, they will gouge you for every cent they can. You want a can of Coke? $6. Go on, you'll pay it. So it's insane.
Yeah. And this is where we're supposed to get our cheap food to keep ourselves going.
Well, the thing is, like,
alone.
Everyone keeps talking about like processed food being bad for you and all that kind of stuff, but it's the only thing we can afford. We can't afford like natural meat.
I mean, back when I was on Centrelink, which is our government assistance program for anyone outside of Australia.
Oh, we could spend an entire like week worth of episodes on that alone. Jesus.
We don't need to talk about that until John Doe gets back, because he knows so much about Centrelink.
Oh, he do.
But the point is, I was surviving on a maximum $40 a week on food.
Yeah.
That had to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 7 days. I had to pull out of my ass out of $40.
Yeah. It was a lot of ramen, not gonna lie.
I used to eat a lot of dim sims because you get like massive 25 packs of them for like $5.
Like, I remember when like ramen and everything was always called the student's diet, but now it's just everyone's diet here. Like, it's kind of what you need to do to survive. It's not not ideal.
I know.
Like,
although
we're now old enough that we're getting excited because we found a random like grocer that isn't owned by Coles and Woolies and has.
I was about to say
prices.
I'm super into all these Asian stores coming in, places like Hanara Mart and Fresco.
Oh, that's
it's
so
like
good.
What? The prices are reasonable?
Look, if you can find a Fresco somewhere near you, for the love of God, go. They more often than not have their own butcher at the back.
Except the one at Rochdale.
Yeah, no, that one's a bit sad. I
think
think
one's
that might be
weird.
one of the first ones.
I don't know. All I know is it's the whitest Asian store I've ever been in.
Yeah. Like, we are slowly
looking...
getting a few extra grocers. Like, there's an Indian grocer near my place, like, within the same area as well. And they still sell things like McCain. But it's the not white people McCain. So even their basic potato gems, spicy. And they're so good. Like, I want those here. But I know Coles and Woolies would charge an excess for them. It's like, oh no, it's fancy.
Well, no, it's international import.
Ah, yes. That fucking wonderful aisle full of money for them.
Look, man, that used to be the only place you could actually get decent ramen.
That is true.
Although I do remember when we were in uni and we were in the Valley and we found that Asian store that would sell you the whole boxes of ramen.
Yes.
It was like $20, but you got, what was it, 12 packs?
Yeah. It was insane.
So it was like, oh, I buy this, and then I don't need to buy food. Awesome.
Yeah. Then the next week, after having 1 week of normal ramen, you could buy things to put on top of the ramen. And it was so good. Crack an egg in
crack
there.
an egg.
Oh, yeah. Crack an egg, or just get some, like, cheap cuts of meat.
I mean, the easiest one was get beef jerky.
Yeah.
Because you throw it in the ramen mix, the salt and powder off of the beef jerky would just add additional flavor. And essentially all you're doing is rehydrating the beef jerky.
Yeah. Oh, that's the fun thing. We have both lived pretty close to the wire before.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Like, mostly because rent was too expensive. But it's one of those things where you start to get pretty, like, good with what you have. It's like...
Yeah.
Every so often, I should probably eat a vegetable. You go and buy one specifically. But, the shit you can live on for at least a stint is pretty good.
I mean, I think, at least when I was really unemployed, the treat was going to Subway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was, $10, get yourself a foot long, and just load that motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely.
How much salad do you want? All of it! This is the only food I can afford. I need to be full.
I still remember one of those nights after we'd been drinking, and we were both like pretty poor at the time. I think we both only had like $10 left, and we're like, let's just go get Subway. And there was a 24-hour Subway down the road from where I lived in like Kangaroo Point or somewhere. And we walked in, and we knew the guy behind the counter because we went there pretty often at like 3 in the morning. And he's like, "All right, guys, what do you want?" It's like, "We're getting $10 subs." He's like, "All right, what salad? Is salad still free?" It's like, "Yes, salad is free. Like all the salad, just so much of it."
Yeah.
It's like, "All right, what sauce?" "As much as you will give us."
Yeah. I mean, I love that guy because he understood why we were there.
Yeah.
It wasn't because we wanted a good sandwich. It's we're poor.
Yeah. He was a good guy.
This is, like, yeah, no one's going to rant and rave about the salads at a Subway. But when you've been living on ramen and dim sims, holy crap, it's like hot cuisine.
Oh, fuck yeah. It was so good.
I used to remember, this wasn't when I was with you, it was when I was living in the shed. This was on Kangaroo Point, though. Our Centrelink checks used to come in at 1 a.m. for some fucking reason.
Yeah, that was always the weirdest thing.
And because none of us would be asleep, we'd all were unemployed idiots, and we're just like, I'm up. We'd all roll out at like 1 in the morning down to the fucking Subway, take the rent out of the ATM, and then just get food.
Yeah. Same thing used to happen to us as well. Like every rent day, you'd go down and go to the ATM and get Subway. Like, good times.
It was like the one decent meal you were going to have that week.
Pretty much. And you could only get it because you were right there with money.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It was the one decent meal you were going to have that fortnight.
Yeah, that's right. Because
like, you had to make that check last, and you'd already spent 300 of it on rent.
That's if you found a cheap place. Because otherwise, most of your check was went to rent.
Yeah.
It was not great.
No, it was really, really bad. I remember I actually, like, I had some real depression issues back then because I felt bad going out with friends.
Yeah.
Because my friends would have to pay for me because I couldn't afford it. And that made me feel like absolute shit.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, I had the same thing at certain times, but eventually we figured out that it was just a matter of, we never really kept track of money or anything, is how our friendship worked, at least. It was just a matter of like, oh, occasionally if I'm short, you grab stuff, and if you're short, I grab stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how we survived for a very long time, I think.
Yeah.
Same with John Doe. Like, between the three of us and a couple others, we just kept each other propped up and fed, and that was it.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
And that's kind of how everything works in Australia now. Because it used to be a matter of, oh, you share house for a while, and then you go and get your own apartment. Like, no, you're share housing forever now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm well into my 30s, and I still rent.
Yeah, I know people in my industry who are making a lot of money, and they still live with people.
Yeah.
It's
fucked.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not that it's great anywhere right now.
Oh, yeah, God, I would much rather be here at the moment than in some other places. Like, it's a bit messy.
As much as we're whinging.
Oh, like, we're professional whingers. We have a podcast. It's what we do.
I know, right?
But, like, the big thing is, I'm just happy we're not in America at the moment. That shit's still imploding.
I haven't heard anything new, but it's sort of like, whoa, that tension ain't gone away.
Last I heard, Texas had settled down, but they were still, like, sulking in the corner, essentially.
Oh, their governor has still stated that they will do other defiant actions.
Yeah, like, they are openly, not openly rebelling, but they're being openly defiant. It's like, essentially, he is just jumping up and down, yelling, "You don't have enough badges to train me," and just yelling at the sitting president, who keeps forgetting he's a sitting president. So, and meanwhile, apparently Trump might be coming back, so that's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens in season 3 of America.
Oh, God, it's looking like it might be the final wrap-up season for him.
I don't know. It definitely seems like something big is going to have to go down there, and it's not going to be good for anyone.
Well, the thing is, like, something big is going to be happening in a lot of the big powers at the moment. Like, we're thankfully removed from this, because who the hell's going to bomb us? We're that place everyone goes to on vacation.
I mean, there's a reason Mad Max is set in Australia.
Yeah. Pretty
We
much.
lived.
we
just decided we liked leather.
The only place left after all the explosions was the BDSM shops. It's because they're all built in basements. It's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, like, in Australia, you don't get beach ready, you get Road Warrior Apocalypse ready.
Yeah.
Why do you need to be all jacked so I look good in leather pants?
Yeah. I have to be good in the assless chaps I'll be wearing for the rest of my life. Which was... Oh, I love those movies, not gonna lie. But at the same time, I can't keep... Every time I watch them, it's like... It's Australia. The sun exists. How are you not burnt to shit in that?
How are there so many pale white people in a Mad Max movie?
Right?
Everyone should be, like, toasted.
Oh, absolutely. You're like those truckers you see who have spent their entire life trucking back and forth across Australia. My uncle's one of them. Lovely guy. But he looks like a leather handbag.
Yeah.
Like, just tanned leather. Love him to death, but by God is he preserved.
Yeah.
Like, they're the people that should be in Mad Max movies. Not like the weird, wiry, like, pale as hell IT bros.
I mean, like, that's why it was so weird in Fury Road.
Yeah.
Because they had all the war dogs, those guys. And it's like, every single one of these is some pasty dude. Yeah, I know they've got white dust and paint on them. But none of them look particularly tan.
Yeah.
These dudes hang out on the outside of a tanker with no shirts on.
Yeah. It's...
One of them should look like a lobster.
At least one of them. Like, there should be shades of different tans throughout all of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, it's a strange cinematic universe. And we're getting more of it, apparently. Furiosa comes out this year, I think.
That's pretty soon, if I recall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like prequels because we already know the main character's going to survive, and it takes a lot of the punch out of things.
Anytime you're like, maybe they died. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
We're aware that they come back and like do other big things and then survive again. So there's no things here. Basically, everyone around them will die. You know that much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember you from the original movie. You're dying horribly.
I still wish they'd embrace the fan theory about Mad Max.
Which one? There's a few.
The one where it says that Max isn't real. That he's just a thing that people tell stories about.
Yeah. He's the boogeyman to keep you from doing dumb shit.
So, like, the way this theory would work is that in Fury Road, Furiosa did everything.
Yeah.
But in the retelling, Max helps her.
Yeah.
Because that's the story. Max comes from the desert, helps you, and then leaves.
Yeah. The lone wanderer
really
to help shit out and then disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, it's normal people doing the things, and it just becomes mythicized.
Yeah.
And then you become part of the Mad Max legend.
Which I actually really like that theory, because I've heard a few different ones, but that's the one that I gel with most, because you look back at the original Mad Max movie, and that was the only time Max was real. It's the first time that someone's done something big enough to warrant the creation of the legend. And after that, you get to things like, the second one was where he goes to Gastown, or like their version of it, essentially.
Yeah.
And they trick the raiders into following the big tanker full of sand. And that's just meant to be some guy did it, and all the other people on the tanker who were protecting it. But everyone's like, oh no, Max was the guy who was driving the tanker. And
Max was the some guy.
yeah, he was the some guy. Then there's Thunderdome, which is essentially one guy being sent off into the desert to die, and then coming back with a tiny army of children, and just doing stuff. It could have just been a raid, but
Yeah.
Like,
And it also opens you up to do so much more interesting storytelling, because you can craft a story around another character and then just involve Max.
I honestly really liked Fury Road for the fact that Max was present, but he wasn't the main focus half the time.
Yeah, the main character was Furiosa. It was actually her movie.
Absolutely, but you have to have Mad Max nearby because it's a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. And let's face it, Fury Road was amazing.
It was a really good movie. It's the reason I am looking forward to Furiosa, to be honest, is the last movie was good.
Same.
I would like to see where this goes, and I would like to see how these new and interesting characters all die horribly.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that brings me into prequels. Otherwise, it just feels like wasted effort to me sometimes.
Or you have to set them a reasonable enough time back.
Yeah.
That it functions.
Yeah.
So, I think a good example of that, it's a game, not a movie, is Yakuza 0, which is a prequel game that got made after the 4th Yakuza game.
Yeah.
And it was designed to give more context into Kiryu and Majima. But they set it far enough back that Kiryu isn't the Dragon of Dojima yet.
Yeah.
So he doesn't carry any of that baggage with him in the prequel. And the Majima that you play in that game is one who's still, quote-unquote... I mean, if you ever played Yakuza, he kind of comes a little bitshit insane. But it's Majima back when he was trying to be a Yakuza. Yeah. And he was trying to be serious. And treat you being a Yakuza as a big deal. So he's very different, and you learn how he eventually becomes the unhinged nutbar.
Yeah, or if you can do it, the perspective of a different character.
Yeah,
Honestly, everyone always gives shit to the Star Wars prequels because they weren't great. We were following the the destination of the Anakin Skywalker family, and we already knew he was going to fall, and they didn't handle the fall correctly. It was just muddled. I would much rather have seen the Clone Wars from the perspective of a Jedi running one of the clone trooper regiments. I would love to have seen that. It would have been great. Because at the end, watching the Order 66 be carried out on this new person who you're not sure is going to live or die because they're not in the sequels or the original movies. I would have enjoyed that.
They did it. It's called The Clone Wars, and no one watched it.
And it was fucking amazing. I loved the Clone Wars.
They have the most impactful Order 66 scene I have ever that exists in Star Wars, which is Rex getting Order 66, turning around to look at Ahsoka, holding up his gun while crying, saying, "Good soldiers follow orders."
If you want to fuck with someone who's a Star Wars fan, if you find a Star Wars fan out there, if you want to test to see if they've watched all of the Clone Wars, just look at them dead in the eye and say, "A good soldier follows orders," and see what they do.
Yeah, if they've seen it all, they know the scene you're referring to.
Yeah,
it'll mess you up.
Yeah.
The newest season of Bad Batch actually started last night.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. I love Bad Batch.
The first 3 episodes dropped all together. This is the final season of the Bad Batch, by the way.
Fair.
So we're not going to be getting any more of them after that. Well, we're not getting any more of this show. I'm not saying we're not going to get any more of the Bad Batch, but we're not getting any more of the program.
There's current theories that they might start popping up in other bits and pieces, so we'll see how
they've definitely started to become a very strong fan favorite group.
Oh, absolutely. Troopers that are slightly different. It's good fun.
So we are getting out past now, but I do want to hit something that we can now talk about because me and Swish have both seen it.
Yes.
Hazbin Hotel.
Yes. I actually really enjoyed... I knew I was going to enjoy it because I loved Hell of a Boss. But it is very different.
So, I had some issues with that show. One, they expect you to have watched the pilot.
They do, yeah.
Which seems really odd as a TV show.
Yeah.
They just start with all the pieces in place and go, assuming you watch the YouTube video.
Yeah.
So... that's one thing that I think is a bit of a misstep, but hey, I'm not going to hold it too much against them.
Yeah.
The first couple of episodes, I was a bit... really? This seems entirely too sanitized. It's lost that edge that I like about the content of the concept of the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't until about episode 3 that things started to pick up for me.
Yeah, because 3 is where they start dealing a lot more with Angel Dust and their situation, I think.
And Husk.
I love Husker.
Which is where the fan shipping of Hustus comes from. Because apparently everyone wants them to hook up now.
Pretty much. Despite the fact the entire way through the series, Husk is like, no, stop it, I'm not into that.
Yeah. So that's where things started to pick up for me. But then I run into a different problem, which is they only had a 6-episode run. I want to say 6.
I think it's 6. Yeah.
And they try to cram way too much into those 4 episodes after the first 2.
Honestly, I really wish they just had an extra like 3 or 4 episodes to flesh that shit out. It would be
I'm not talking a huge amount of like. I'm not like, oh, they need like 24. No, we're talking only 2 or 3 to just give some stuff some breathing room.
Yeah.
Minor spoiler here because I have a really good example. There's one episode where we actually find out the backstory of who Vaggie is.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal in the show. Like I said, minor spoilers here. It does all get really resolved pretty quick, so whatever. It turns out that Vaggie's actually an angel, and one of the executioners who used to come down to hell and slay demons.
Yeah.
But she let a demon go, and then another angel cut her eye out, ripped her wings off, and left her down there.
Yeah.
This is revealed to the audience, because this douchebag character who is Adam...
The original
wants to use it to blackmail her into helping crush what Charlie's trying to do in the show. And so, okay, we've got this blackmail plot and we've got this sub-story. Okay, let's go. This could be something.
Yeah.
In the exact same episode this all gets revealed, it then gets revealed to the other characters and the blackmail fails.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Why do it? Why try and blackmail her if you're not going to let it sit long enough to even do anything?
Yeah. It's all for that court case, essentially, because she goes up, Charlie goes up to heaven to plead the case of, please stop killing me and my people. And that's when they find out that no one in heaven, apart from the executioners who are going down there to murder the hell denizens, and like the grand seraphim, essentially, they're the ones who know about this. And it was all proposed by Adam. Which I find interesting because there's a great fan theory that Adam only proposed the extermination as a way of fixing the overpopulation of hell because he wanted to fuck with Lucifer.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, for taking his first wife and then tempting his second.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Look, I will admit, Adam as a character, so wonderfully hateable. They make him into such a dude bro douchebag.
Dude frat bro from like... It's so good.
Like, in one of the first times you see him, I can't remember what the exact line is, but it's something along the line of, why would no girl want my dick? I have the original dick!
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much. He's so hateable. I love it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's the things like the radio demon. The depths of his character are interesting because they sprinkle in some shit along his mythology. Because Charlie is very open about everything. You know she's the princess of hell and her father and mother and all that kind of stuff from the get-go. But the fact that the radio demons, he's always referred to as a mystery. And at one point, someone who knew him in life turns up, which is Mimsy. She turns up for a short period. Because she says, oh, we ran the same circles when we were alive. He used to frequent the club I went to, or I worked at. And it's like, she goes through what happened with his rise to power as the radio demon. Where it's like, yeah, so everyone just kind of fobbed him off. He was making waves and shit, but everyone thought he was just some weakling. It's fine. And then overlords of hell, big overlords, started going missing. At the same time, a mysterious radio broadcast that only broadcast out screams started to happen. And every time an overlord disappeared, a new scream was added to the chorus. And then he started doing his weekly radio show and became the radio demon. It's like, holy fuck, that's terrifying. I love it. Add the fact that they keep mentioning he's under a deal contract. But we have no idea who with. Or what the terms are. He keeps pissing on about that.
Yeah.
Like, they are setting things up for another season, and I am keen to see more of it.
Oh, yeah. I might have my reservations, but I do want to see more.
Oh, absolutely.
And I purely base that... Like, if I just watched this, I might not be that interested.
Yeah.
But I've watched Hell of a Boss.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that show has had so many quality episodes that vary between hellacious fun
Yeah.
and emotional gut punch.
Oh, absolutely.
That I have no question that those guys can write a show.
There's also...
But I think that Hell of a Boss got the extra episodes it needed to do those things.
Oh, yeah.
And Hazbin didn't.
They did the same thing that the Orville did, where it's like they started off wacky and fun. It's like, look at these characters, aren't they fun? This is great. By the way, you feel sad for them now. How do you feel about that, you little shit? And it's great.
Man, when just... And they make you feel for characters you didn't think you would. Like, I wouldn't have thought I'd end up getting that into Stolas.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, his whole thing with Blitz, it's crushing.
Yeah. Add the fact of the ship with Blitz, where it's like, Blitz actually feels things, but he's definitely running away from it. It's like, why are you doing this?
The bit where he passes out on the couch alone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, I just want to reach into the computer and give you a hug, man.
The follow-up episode to that, where directly after that he goes and picks up Luna. Her backstory is fucked, but goes to pick her up from a party, gets horribly wasted, goes back to that couch. It's like, vomits everywhere. Just that last little bit of fun to take the gut punch away, which is like, I'll give you that.
But I look, I'll freely admit I'm way more excited for Hell of a Boss, but that's because I'm really invested in what's going in that show.
We've had more time to get invested in that one.
I want to see what happens with Hazbin because I know they can write a better show.
Yeah.
And I want to see it happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not to say that Hazbin is bad.
Yeah.
It's just not as good.
It's different, and that's the thing, because if you go to the subreddits for both of those things, there are people who are trying to link them as the same hell.
They are.
It's debatable, because it's one of those things where the Hell of a Boss hell is the rings, like different versions of it, but none of that's ever really mentioned in Hazbin Hotel yet, so there might be something for later, go to different rings of hell and go and do stuff there. Because like
they are confirmed as the same hell.
That's good. I'm happy that it's confirmed that way.
This is my point, though. Because they didn't have enough breathing room in Hazbin Hotel, they didn't get to explore this stuff. They just had to, like, next thing. They couldn't stop and go, there's other stuff going on.
Yeah.
This is the breathing room that Hell of a Boss has gotten to explore.
Yeah.
Is all of this, like, there's different demon overlords, like, I'm really interested to find out what's gonna happen to Ozzy.
Oh, yes. Ozzy and Fizzarelli. Which, if you've seen Hazbin, there is a Fizzy in there, which I love.
Yeah.
One of the Fizzy bots.
The one thing I'm more interested in is that, can't remember what the fucking giant jester's name was.
Osmodius? No, that's
no.
I can't remember. My brain's gone.
The one who was controlling Fizzarelli.
Yeah.
Points out that Ozzy telling everyone that he loves Fitz is bad and that it's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
And I am really like, what? What problems? Why does it matter? I want to know.
It's one of those things, they touch on it occasionally in Hell of a Boss, the fact that he is the overlord of lust, or the demon of lust. And it's like, you can't be in lust and be in love. That doesn't work. And it's like, we'll see how you go.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, I'm assuming it's going to be the fact that it shows weakness and other overlords will pounce on it.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. That's why, that's what makes it interesting. I'm very... And, like, they have sprinkled in the whole relationship between Fitz and Ozzy. But, like, that episode really solidifies a lot of it. And we actually get to learn a lot about Fitz's backstory with Blitzo.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Actually finding out that his horns are actually destroyed under that jester hood.
Yeah, because it's one of those things, like, watching it, you don't realize until it's brought up the fact that his like, jester hat swings so wildly. It's like, he's an imp, like Blitz. How is that happening? Like, what's going on there? And it's like, oh, that's why. Fuck.
And then they go into the backstory about how that happened and how him and Blitz became estranged and...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm nostalgic over it because the show is so fucking good.
Look, I occasionally just go back and rewatch all of Hell of a Boss because it's short.
Yeah.
episodes you can power through in like an afternoon, and they're all really well done. Add the fact that they keep putting out really good songs. Like, honestly,
I know we haven't shut up about the songs in Hell of a Boss.
Oh, like Hell of a Boss is good, but even Hazbin Hotel, Loser Baby is one that's on repeat on my fucking playlist at the moment. That's the one of Husk and
Angel.
Like them coming to terms with the fact that they're both losers and hit rock bottom, but at least they've got company. It's like I relate to that a bit too much. Stop it.
Yeah.
Get out of my head.
It's like the team over at Fizzy Pop of, okay, we understand the kind of mindset of millennials. Yeah. Let's write them some bangers.
Oh, fuck yeah. Even, like, the side songs from, like, Hazbin and Hell of a Boss, like Cotton Candy in Hell of a Boss was good. Because it's the idea of just hiding behind the saccharine, things in life. Just ignore the bad shit, just have some cotton candy. But, like, Hazbin Hotel, what was it? Wish I'd Gone, which is the radio demon going against Vox, which is the television demon. Because he picks the fight. Like, the television demon's like, I'm just gonna cut this off while I can, just slander him on my platform. Which forces Alistair to make a response. Yeah. And does so well.
I do like the Who's Charlie's Real Daddy fucking song.
Yeah, that was fun. Like watching
when Lucifer shows up
fight.
And they have a song fight over who's more looking after Charlie.
Well, that's the thing, because everyone always talks about the fact that Alistair's a terrifying terrifying soul. And it's shown at one point where he meets up for a meeting with other overlords, and everyone on the street sees him and this other guy and run. Like, they notice them, it's like, oh, fuck, leave, and just disappear. Like, they just run the fuck away. But the same kind of thing happens with Hell of a Boss, like Osmodius, and to a lesser extent, Stolas, where they have that level of nobility where it's like, that's a bad thing, we're not going near that.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty good. But for some reason, Charlie doesn't have that. She's a laughing stock in all of hell, because even though she's Lucifer's daughter, she never uses the power for anything. Like,
and I think that kind of partly undercut why, like, when she goes full demon in the last fight in Hazbin.
Yeah,
it's too underplayed.
Little bit. It's only when she teams up with her old man that she is able to fuck up with Adam.
Yeah.
Where she actually uses the power properly. But the fight with Adam and Alistair was pretty fun.
Oh, that was great.
Like,
That's
even
really
the fact
good.
that he doesn't win the fight, it's just the fact that he didn't make it easy for him. Like, fuck.
Yeah. He only just lost.
And there's a running theory, it's because of the constraints of his deal. Because he seems taken aback by the fact that he wasn't able to block an attack. It's like, what the fuck just happened? And his voice stops being radio static. It is completely normal. And the only time we see that happen previously is when Angel's being countermanded by the person who owns their contract. He lapses back into Timothy. So, yeah.
Point is, good show. Would highly recommend checking it out. And if you want more of it and you haven't seen it already, go watch Hell of a Boss. For the love of Christ. It's free on YouTube. Please watch it. It's really, really good.
We want more people to see this, so we get more of it.
You might be both happy and depressed at the end of it, but damn, you'll feel some shit.
Oh, fuck yes, and we kind of need that occasionally.
Alright, we are way out past an hour, so I think we will definitely wrap it up right now.
Yeah, fair.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.